So fuck yes, welcome to Having Me, your host is always Brian. With me as always is Jonathan Hardesty.
In
CHEWIE Darso.
Hi. Let's just talk over John.
Yeah, and Emily Blake. Who just laughs at John.
Hers is the cruelest.
Yeah, because she's pointing at you and laughing at the same time.
I'm sitting right across from you, so you can just like see in my eyes.
Our
table is
She
small,
just
so you're
he just
poking me in
sees the
face.
seething hatred. It's just
Right.
like this infinite galaxy.
So there's our guest.
Yeah,
Who?
Chris Ortiz.
What's going on, people?
Chris, I feel like we have to have you on at least once every October now.
Oh, I'm more than down. I'm always down to talk about horror movies.
I mean, it's always fun. So this week kicks off the guest choice. And Chris's first pick I had to turn down because it does not exist online anywhere. But your second pick was
Tales from the Crypt presents Demon Night.
Night with a K.
I mean, it's about that epic. But before we get into that, Chris, you have anything you want to plug right away?
Nothing at the moment right now. I don't think any of my friends have any new comic books coming out and stuff. I'm sitting alone in my house and everything, so I'll plug that.
Ooh, yeah.
Come on.
Everyone
So we're-
should sit around the
Chris,
house.
Yeah.
You have something to plug.
So where can people find you, though?
Oh, actually, I do have something to plug. If anybody is interested, I am throwing a giant Halloween party at the end of the month. We do it every year. This is going to be our 10th year. It's called the Haunted Manor. We're on Facebook about it and everything. We sell tickets. They tend to sell out and everything. We usually sell them to only about the first 200 people. I can tell you right now, it is, without hyperbole, probably one of the best Halloween parties you will ever go to in
I
Los
enjoy watching
Angeles.
your prep photos.
Yes, yeah.
Will we be invited this year? Because
You two are invited. I make sure all of you were invited.
I love guilting him that he has not invited us before.
I thought we were invited last year.
No, we were not.
Oh.
Although he
Well,
thought he had
fuck
invited
you.
us. Yeah, see? Right, fuck you.
Well, everybody, it was great. It was fantastic being on the podcast. You can find me on Twitter at CJ. No, we got written up last year for a Stranger Things themed house and everything on Nerdist, and this year, even though we have not announced the theme yet, I can tell you we are going for broke once again.
So the theme is
Broke. They're broke.
Something scary.
How scary is
Are
it
there
to
gonna
be
be
broke in
clowns?
America?
No, actually, that did come up in the meetings where we were talking about. We're like, well, we could do it because it looks like continuing the zeitgeist. And just all of us just went, no, we're not doing a fucking clown.
Thank you.
I mean, that is a friend of the show, Justin Meyer, who runs the LA Hayrack Ride. They're doing clowns.
I'm
this
going
year.
there next week. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to that.
He was supposed to be on once this time, and it just did not work out. Turns out, during the month of October, when you run a haunted Hayrack Ride, you
You're
don't
busy.
have a lot of time.
My friend, actually, one of our friends, Camille, I swear you got a number of you. I think you know also. God, I am word vomiting. But she was talking to me about how when she does Halloween Horror Nights, she just doesn't have any time for anything outside of it for Halloween.
I bet it's
Halloween
intense.
Horror Nights gets annoying because it makes it hard for me to get to my storage unit at work.
How dare they? Let's do a quick where have you been doing? I will go first. I've been reading Dark Knight's Metal. For those of you who don't know what that is the culmination of 60-some issues of Scott Snyder writing Batman. He's been laying the groundworks for this event the whole time, and it's paid off. We've been reading it the whole time. If you haven't, that's still okay. You should pick them up immediately. It is probably the best story going on right now in comics. The art's great, the story's great, characters are great. Everything about it is just balls to the wall awesome. And each week there is without going too into detail, but there's 7 new Batmen, and they're all the evilest versions of Batman. And it's if Batman killed one of the Justice League, absorbed his powers, and then went nuts. So the first 2 that have come out was Flash and then Cyborg. And they're 2 of the best single issues of comics I've ever read. Like, they're just so good, but they're dark and twisted and fucked up and not what I thought they're going to be at all. But, like, I cannot recommend it highly enough. Like, every book coming out that has metal on it is worth your time. That's it for me.
Did I or did you or one of us talk about Mother in previous podcasts? I forgot.
No, I don't think we brought it up.
Okay. Well, I will talk about Mother with an exclamation point. I know that movie is getting a lot of hate. There's a lot of hate about Mother right now. I don't think it deserves it. I think it caught a lot of people off guard because they didn't know what it was about. And it turns out it's very religious and very heavy. When I first went in to see it, I didn't know what I was getting into either. I kind of didn't watch the trailer or anything, but I like Darren Aronofsky. And when I was watching it, I was thinking like, wow, this is a lot like the internet. I mean, like it's a funny thing. I knew that's not what it was actually about, but to myself, I'm like, oh, it starts out as something great. We're all in this together. You're still like, we're looking at all these strangers, and I don't know if I like these strangers. And then in the end, it turns into just people destroying everything, which kind of happens on the internet all the time where everyone's like really together and then they all rip it to pieces. Because, yeah.
I'm just in genuine shock that Darren Aronofsky made something controversial.
Shocking.
I do have to credit Paramount for coming up with the best marketing campaign ever in the wake of it getting an F on CinemaScore. And
What? Oh, are they leaning into that?
oh yeah, so they've released posters that. So at a point in the movie, Jennifer Lawrence gets the absolute shit kicked out of her,
Literally.
and like her face is bruised and battered, and it looks horrible. So they've released a new poster that's split down the middle, and half of it is normal, pretty Jennifer Lawrence, and there's a bunch of great reviews on that side of the page. The other half is beaten up, and it's all the negative reviews on that side.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, that's a cool poster.
great.
What's
Genius.
funny is that they had to ask her if she was okay to do it, and just judging by her personality, what I've seen in interviews, I bet she was probably like, "Fuck yeah, do that."
I mean, it's so weird. It's thinking about people's reaction to this movie because I thought it was beautiful, well acted, amazingly shot. Yes, it takes a while to get used to how close you are to everything because it's mostly close medium shots. And that got a little grating. The biggest critique I've been getting from people is that they think it's pompous. Like, I have one friend that I wanted to go with it to me, and she's like, I just don't like those type of movies because they make me feel like the high schoolers or when I was in high school and all the film people would be like, you just don't get it because you're not smart enough. It's very much an artistic film.
Oh, yeah,
it's not just a movie. It's an art film.
Yeah.
And that turns a lot of people off.
Well,
Which is too bad.
That's why, like, yeah, people are going to hate it, and other people will love it. So, I really dug it.
I also really enjoyed it. I hope that all the fervent hate goes away at some point, and people can cool down and just watch it and try to appreciate it.
Anyhow, next.
I watched all of the TV series Dear White People on Netflix, and I really enjoyed it. It was actually my very first commercial job was doing a promo for the show, so I've been looking forward to seeing it because every single person on the show is super nice. But it was really interesting. If you've seen the movie, the movie ends with a blackface party. A bunch of white people dressing up in blackface and going to a party, which is really a thing that happens on college campuses, and it's fucking horrible. And
That's genuinely horrifying.
Yeah.
God, white people are the worst.
Wow.
White people are the worst. So the TV show picks up where the movie left off. So it's the whole school responding to the what happened, the repercussions of this blackface party and how the whole campus is dealing with it. But what I like is the structure of it is each episode is from a different person's perspective. So some events cross over. Sometimes we push the plot forward. It just depends on who we're following. So it's really cool because you see the white guy's perspective on everything. You see you have people who are just like militant, like fuck white people. Then you have people who are, who are just trying to, you have one character who really wants to blend in. And just is like, fuck it, we've got to do this if we want to survive and be successful. You just have to play the game. You've got one character who's mixed race and is sort of trying to balance that in her life, like pick a place where she belongs. You have a gay kid who's dealing with that, who's not ready to admit that he's gay yet. You just have all of these things, all of these people dealing with race, but also dealing with their lives. So it's not about, and a lot of people have complained like, oh, dear white people must be about hating white people. And it's really not. It's about showing race from different perspectives, how everyone deals with it. And it's like there's a scene where a white person does something, he calls the cops and things get out of hand, and he was trying to help. But, like, it didn't occur to him because he's white. It didn't occur to him that the cops aren't always helpful. And all the black people are like, how could you not have known this would have happened? And he's just like, I thought I was helping, And so it's also dealing with a lot of white privilege and just all these really, really cool things that make you think. And, yeah, I really, really liked it. I thought it was really well done. I liked the whole different people's perspectives approach to the filmmaking there.
Next.
All right, well, I decided I had a little bit of time at like 12 midnight, 1 in the morning, one night. And so I decided to try out 2 shows. One was Santa Clarita Diet, and the other one was Van Helsing on Netflix.
Van Helsing is a show?
Sci-fi show, right?
Or Helsing. Maybe it's called just Helsing. It's sci-fi show. A gal wakes up and she has like the power to cure vampirism or something. I gave it a try because I was just like, hey, this looks kind of fun. Might as well try it. Both are okay. I didn't really care for Santa Clarita Diet that much. Didn't really hook me. The humor was weird. And I'm normally like cool with that, but there was just pacing issues, and I was like, okay, she's a zombie thing, and the kid somehow knows it, and they're all just like, okay, go with it. Timothy Olyphant in that is funny. I like his kind of stonery acting thing because I've only seen him in serious stuff or comedies like Girl Next Door. So I've kind of seen a little bit of a range. So it's like, oh, yeah, that's kind of fun, but it wears itself thin really fast.
You're the only person I've heard say that. Everyone has told me I need to watch it. It's like hilarious.
And maybe it gets hilarious, but like as I was watching, I was more scratching my head than laughing. There's kind of a glibness to it that I was warming to. There's kind of like who cares about a lot of this? It's just be funny and be weird. And, but there's also this like the kids talk really hip, and they're like the precocious teenagers, and it's like, okay, everyone's so cool when they talk. And it's like, okay, someone can be not sarcastic, right?
I refuse to watch Timothy Olyphant not being a cowboy.
It's good. It's a good plan.
Yeah.
You will not
I
be
don't have
disappointed.
If he's not a cowboy, then I'm not going to watch it. That's what
I
I'm saying.
kind of think he's attractive no matter what.
Yeah, but
No, I'm just saying. But like when he's a cowboy, that's
yeah,
when
doubly.
he's at his best. Like
yes.
I don't want to see him be anything other than a cowboy because
I can't argue with that. He looks amazing in those
and he does a
jeans.
great Southern accent.
Last but not least.
All right. I'm also going to pick out two things that I saw on Netflix. One is American Vandal, which if you guys have not seen, it is hysterical but also rather poignant. It's a satire off of all of those true crime documentary miniseries shows that Netflix has been doing, like, Making a Murderer, that one about the nun, I forget the name of it, and the one that was on HBO, like, what's that one called? I forget the name of it, but you guys, I think people know what I'm talking about. So, only instead of a murderer, it's a guy who's been accused of drawing a bunch of dicks at his local high school. He tries to tell everybody that he's innocent, and nobody believes him except for one lone reporter at the high school newspaper. So he decides to make a documentary,
This
and
is
so
a true
he starts.
story, right?
No, this
No?
is no, but that's the
I
brilliant
thought it
thing
was
about
based
this.
on a true story or something.
Nope, it is totally like written.
What's this called?
It's called American Vandal, and it's hysterical because they'll lull you into this false sense of thinking like, oh yeah, I'm watching like like a true crime show and everything, and all of a sudden you'll be reminded it's about teenagers because the kid that's narrating it will be like, so and so had a party last night, not that I would know because I wasn't fucking invited. And so like they'll do like things like, but it also they do a really good job of having 3-dimensional characters in it. It's not just, and you
cool.
think it's a one-off joke because it's about 8 episodes long, but it's not, and they keep it going, and the mystery is pretty interesting, and so I highly recommend it. And then the other thing that I watched, which was just last night, is Gerald's Game.
Oh yeah, my roommate watched that. He said it was fucking great.
It's great. It's absolutely fantastic. The last 10 minutes, put it this way, if you know about Stephen King and everything, you know that sometimes he has a hard time sticking the landing. Unfortunately, this carried a little over to the film. Everything else in it is fantastic. Carla, I always have a hard time pronouncing her last name, Gugino,
Same thing.
Yep.
is tour de force performance
great
in this.
actress.
If there's any justice in the world, she will be nominated for an Oscar because it's pretty much just her. Like, not just also the fact that it's just her, but it's also her strapped in one position for the majority of the picture.
Yeah.
I mean, I have been a huge fan of her ever since Son-in-Law, so I have been on her bandwagon.
Spy Kids.
Spy Kids.
We're just going to move right along. But seriously, I think we should get started. Tales from the Crypt Demon Night.
29 seconds, guys.
Welcome to All the Time We Have.
We're a podcast where 3 geeks try to unravel 3 separate topics before the time runs out.
As an example, we're going to answer 3 questions right now.
19 seconds.
Hey you, stop there. What is your name?
It is Kevin,
12 seconds.
What is your quest?
to seek out new life and new civilizations.
5 seconds.
What is the average airspeed velocity of an unladen
And
swallow?
that's all the time we have. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play, or at allthetimepod.com.
Another underappreciated actor in this movie.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
two of them,
I can't-
actually.
It's
Everyone.
actually I was about to say there are several
Yeah,
underappreciated
I
actors.
guess
in
there's
this
a
film.
lot in this.
This cast is phenomenal.
Yeah, like it's fun. When I was watching it, because I think I told you guys before, I decided to watch the making of just to kind of get some background facts we could talk about and everything. And I was just like, this cast is fucking fantastic.
Oh yeah, it's insane. But we have to do a what's it called?
Oh shoot! It involves breaking stuff.
Yeah, we have to do a. I don't remember what it's called. I want to say 30-second breakdown.
Nice plug it, guys.
breakdown.
It's almost as if I wasn't expecting this.
Okay, so I fucking hate this title. That's really my biggest complaint with the movie. Tales from the Crypt: Demon Night in 30 seconds. Here we go, go, go.
Tales from the Crypt presents Demon Night is about a couple of people. Oh my God, I had this set up and I am fucking it up.
Losing time.
In a small town in the middle of nowhere, the fate of the world is decided between two warriors on both sides of good and evil, taking place over one night in a hotel where the battle for the apocalypse has begun.
You should say more.
Billy fucking Zane rules.
And boobies.
Yeah, there are those too.
Jada Smith is not annoying in this picture.
Don't besmirch Jada's.
I mean, I guess I'll count it. I mean, you got pretty much everything in there, right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Congratulations.
You survived the
Round of
night.
applause.
You survived the night.
Some people survive the night. Not
Well,
everyone does.
One person.
Oh yeah, that's true. One
That's
person
kind of the
is-
point of the movie.
Because I get it, the knight is actually two entendres. It's because it's not just knight as in there's a character who's like a knight. There's also actually there are several characters that are knights in this, which actually I guess we'll talk about at some point.
Yeah. But I want to start with this thing, which I think is the very best place to start because I did not know anything really about it because it used to play all the time, and I was a huge pansy as a kid, and I could not watch anything horror related at all. Billy Zane.
Oh God!
Billy
I
Zane.
mean, like,
Billy Zane.
okay,
Which is always
Oh,
sad
Billy
when Billy
Zane.
Zane's around and his hair's not present, but he's still got those eyes.
that
There's-
is this is the first film in his career that he appears without his hair present, and apparently the deal was is that he walked into a room, and apparently when he's hired for a part, he comes into a room just because he seems like a very professional guy and everything. So like not in a smug way or anything like that. He comes in there. And he has a suitcase with him. The director was like, "What the fuck's up with the suitcase?" So he puts the suitcase down and he opens it up and he goes, "All right, guys, these are the assortment of wigs that like I have for like different parts. Can you guys just like pick one and tell me which one? So that way, like, you know, I can make sure my like, you know, I get it measured out and everything else." And then he's like, the director Ernest Dickinson is like, "No, I want you bald."
Wait, he wears wigs?
He wore wigs for a number of his films and everything for like
Was
because
his-
he was prematurely bald.
Oh.
You just-
Hold on. Let me
Ruined
just-
Chewie.
Doesn't matter. Still
I
hot.
thought his hair.
still-
I thought his hair in Titanic was his hair.
No.
Oh no! By '97, he was all wigs.
Oh. But this movie was before '97.
All right, fine. There's one film that he forced himself to grow hair for, and it was The Phantom.
And then he held it down with that outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that my favorite thing about Billy Zane is actually from Bruce Campbell's book, If Chins Could Kill: Confessions of a B-Movie Actor, which is awesome and everyone should read it. Bruce Campbell talks about how like Billy Zane was his nemesis because they'd constantly get the same auditions and he'd show up and
Really?
Billy Zane would always fucking be there and he always got the parts because no one takes Bruce Campbell seriously, but
Yeah.
they all take Billy Zane. Billy Zane has the same basic look and the same ability to be sarcastic, but he's also capable of like doing drama.
He plays camp in a way different way.
Yeah.
Which I guess we should talk about right
Yeah.
now, because like Billy Zane doesn't so much act in this film so much as take
Play?
the film, chew the film,
Yeah.
digest the film, spit it out, and then mold it into its own image. This is one of the tour de force performances you will ever see in any genre film.
I would argue that this is my favorite Billy Zane performance.
There's no argument.
Like,
It might
it's
be
Such a
his best
strange,
performance.
sexy demon.
He is, dude. When he like put his fist through that cop's face, I was just like, that still hit it.
No, see, well, I mean, like, also,
Nobody's perfect.
apparently, like, his creative juices were rolling on this set because apparently they were saying, like, yeah, a lot of the shit he just improvised on the set, like, this whole sponge thing, he came up with himself.
That was
Where he's
awesome.
kind of like, what if I come up to the guy and he goes, and I fold a sponge in my mouth and I have it spit out, and the director was like, dude, do that. That's great.
Yeah, I love the way he like danced up the stairs and
Yeah.
just like he just was having so much fun.
Yeah.
Well, what is it? Like, he said that he played the part almost like he actually based the part, he said in the featurette that I saw, off of the genie from Aladdin, only if the genie was pure evil. Which actually
see
makes
that.
sense.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
that.
because I also think, because what I was thinking of when I was rewatching it was, I was like, he's almost like a demonic Bugs Bunny in this picture, where he's just kind of like, when you get the camera, like, watch, I get this guy. It's gonna be so, you're gonna laugh your ass off when I get this fucker.
But like the movie really reminds me of like Evil Dead in a way, where like you can just like the more evil they are, the more fun they're having, and like that's
Right.
really you get that from Billy Zane the whole way through.
I got a lot of Ash versus Evil Dead from this film.
I felt
Yeah, I
like
can see
Ash
that.
versus the Evil Dead. Oh, sorry.
That's
I
from
didn't-
the TV show specifically, not even as much as the movies, but the TV show.
I could see that. Yeah.
Not just Ash versus the Evil Dead. I mean, because I was talking to a friend today who I found out had not seen this film. And after I chastised them for several minutes, they asked me like, "Well, what's it like?" And I told them I was like, "It's almost." I'm like, the best way I could describe it is it's Aliens meets Evil Dead.
Yeah, that kind of works.
Because, because one of the things that they had a real discussion about while they were making the pre-production of this film is the balance between action and horror. Because one of the things that's interesting in this movie is that it's part action, it's part horror, and it's part comedy. And when it turns to either one of those genres, it really works. It's one of those rare films that's able to bounce around between those genres and really work, as a film, no matter what. I think it's also because of the performances of the entire cast, not just Billy Zane, because on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have William Sadler, who has
so good
the more difficult role, you could argue, because he has to play the straight man to Billy Zane just going batshit like nuts the entire time.
And you have CCH Pounder, who I love.
CCH Pounder.
great.
Yeah.
Jada Smith, who actually looks like she could kick everybody's ass in this picture.
Oh, yeah.
She's teeny tiny.
Yeah.
No, she's tiny, but she is ripped.
Yeah, I really wanted to see her as whatever the night thing after that. I want to see that movie.
I know, that's the weird thing is that they also talked about how they were hoping they were going to get a sequel because they really wanted to see her be the full on demon knight, which would have been awesome.
I was also thinking about when she was getting on that bus, okay, so there was a massacre at this place, and the only person to survive it is a convicted felon. So basically, the rest of her life, she's going to be on the run because.
But she is anyways. That's part of being the demon
knight.
But
now she's also going to be on the run from the cops.
Yeah.
So much running.
Yeah.
It's a good thing she's fit.
Yeah, it is.
Well, no, she's great. You also have Thomas Hayden Church in this, who plays just a douchiest of the douchebags.
That is the first time I saw him in a movie was this, and I was like, "Who is this strange guy who's very sleazy?" And then I see him in other things. I'm like, who is this sleazy guy?
Yeah, I kept calling him Lloyd the whole time.
He's so good at
Wings.
playing a douchebag.
And we also
he really is. I mean, I just had fun watching him. He just was the perfect counter to everything.
Also, that shirt they put him in was
perfect.
so great.
Not to mention, also we also have Roger Rabbit himself in this picture.
True.
We're just naming off just amazing character actors one after the other, and the fact that they're able to get them in this, what is essentially a B horror movie and everything.
Yeah, but it's a B horror movie. I mean, Tales from the
but
Crypt
made with
was
A talent.
Yeah, Tales from the Crypt was popular. People love Tales from the Crypt. So them making this movie was kind of I'm still kind of surprised, but also not the cast they were able to get, because all these people weren't huge, but people knew who they were.
Well, it's also, I think the cast of this also recognized the fun script when they see one, and so they were let's have some fun with this. I mean, everybody gets their moment in this picture. I mean, CCH Pounder, I'll never stop laughing at that scene where Billy Zane gives her the arm back, and she does the movement, and he's like, "Is that you saying yes?" She goes, "No, that's me giving you the fucking finger."
Yeah, I love that about her character. She was the one who actually had the best offer from him, and yet she was the one who outright was like, "Fuck you," and didn't even think about it for a fucking second.
Well,
it was great.
Her character was very much. She could see through you immediately, especially when I forgot his name already. William Sadler. Mm-hmm. She calls the cops on him because she can see that he's no good or something.
Well,
there's something going on.
Well, there's something up with it. I mean, I got to switch over. We got to switch over from Billy Zane to Bill Sadler in this because, like I said, I thought he also did a great job of playing what's kind of a white knight in a way in this film and everything. And could be a very vanilla character, but he makes it work. I think because he really puts an emphasis on the weariness that this guy has had to deal with literally for decades on end of constantly being on the run from Billy Zane.
And they make it sound like he's not necessarily immortal, but like his job is immortal. So it's just you are another one in its succession. And I think he kind of played with that pretty well.
Well, don't they hint at in the movie, I could be wrong about this, but it feels like they were hinting at the fact that he kind of sensed once he got into the town that he was going to find his protege, I guess.
Well, yeah, because he said as soon as he realized there's 7 people there, he's like, "Oh, this is what's happening."
Yeah, he realizes that one of them is he's gonna die that night, no matter what, and that and I love how he's just going, "It's all about the number 7, 7 this, 7 that, fuck this shit, I can't stand it anymore."
And I think it all hinges on him. Even though we praise
I
Billy Zane
agree.
and all that, and a role like that is A, thankless, and B, hard to do. He just nails it, makes it look easy. I think it's just everything rests on him doing what he does. That weariness that you mentioned.
I also think it helps that Bill Sadler was middle-aged in the picture, that you didn't cast a really young actor in this, because if it was made now, you would probably have somebody like Zac Efron or Dylan O'Brien or somebody else like that in that role, so that way they could appeal to the tweens and everything. But when you get an older actor like that, they're able to kind of give you the sense of fatigue, weariness, world weariness, and the fact that this guy there's a part of him that does want this to end for him.
Well, and the other actors who are roughly around his same age or older will react to him much differently than a younger actor.
Yes.
Even if they're good actors, there's kind of a different dynamic if someone seems younger. And it plays so well with them being like a nice age diversity there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because a younger actor, they probably would have had a romance between him
Yeah.
and Jada Pinkett. Instead, it was just sort of like a camaraderie, which was much better.
She didn't really have a romance, right?
No, she didn't have
Yeah.
a romance in it, and it was
the prostitute girl did, but
Kind of.
well,
she had a guy who loved her. That doesn't mean it was reciprocated.
Yeah.
I mean, he loved her as like a beacon. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think he actually loved her.
Yeah, I
think it was
I agree 100% with you. He loved her in the object type of way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in a way of, oh, like, I love you, like, mind, body, and soul. Like, he
No.
loved her as
Like
kind of like,
like
a
sexy
dog
lady.
chasing parked cars.
Yeah.
or like, and I hate saying this trope because this movie came out before then, but I guess it's kind of true. He loved her in a way that a manic pixie dream girl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's
yeah.
actually a good way to describe it.
That's the nice guys finish last love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not real love.
No.
It's just you wanting to complain.
Yeah,
that you
that's
don't
the,
get the pretty
exactly.
girl.
That's the kind of guy who's like, how come they go for the assholes and don't go for the nice guy?
And which I
Like,
want to
you're
turn
not
around
really
to
any
him
better
and
than
go,
that guy.
well, Roger, maybe you should go to a fuck. No, I didn't kidding. Like, I don't want to knock on that because, like I said, I love that. I actually met him in a Whole Foods once.
Who
was it?
The actor?
Roger Fleischer, I believe his name is, or Richard
Charles?
Charles Fleischer. Sorry, Charles and everything. But yeah,
I was way off.
No, Charles Fleischer. I was in a Whole Foods, and all of a sudden I'm looking down and I see him, and I just go up to him and I go, "Excuse me," and he goes, "Yes," and you could tell he's used to people coming up to him, and I just go, and I just kind of go, "Were you in Demon Knight?" And he just like, and all of a sudden he's like, oh, everybody usually
Actors
asks me
love
about,
that.
and he goes, everybody usually asks me about Roger Rabbit, and I go, no, I liked you in like, he goes, I'm like, look, don't get me wrong, Roger Rabbit is fucking amazing, but I'm like, I loved you in Demon Knight, and I also loved you in Zodiac. Like,
Koenig, Chekhov. He lives in my neighborhood, so I see him out walking dogs. I've never he and my roommate have crossed paths, but I really want to walk. If I run into him walking our dogs, I really just want to be like, oh man, you were really great in Babylon 5. And because actors fucking love that when they get that one part that everyone knows them for, and you're talking about something else.
well, Billy Zane is apparently he was like, I saw another interview with him, and they're like, what's the number one role that people come up to you and talk to you about? And he's like, Demon Knight. It's not even a debate.
Awesome.
And he goes, and
Not
they're like,
Titanic.
and they're like, yeah, that's the weird thing. He's like, you think it'd be Titanic, but it's Demon Knight. And he goes, they're like, are you upset by that? He's like, fuck no, it's my best part. He goes, it was my best role.
Well, I mean, the thing is, as good as he is in Titanic, and I actually think he's great in Titanic, it's just not as memorable of a part. He just plays the dick in the tux. Like this one, he's like, he's the reason to go back to the movie. Everyone's great in it, but he is just so much fun. Like everything he's doing is
Well, he's playing a demon who's just having the time of his life, torturing these people and going around and fucking with. I mean, he dresses up as Hunter S. Thompson at one point, which is
Oh yeah.
he does like he really is kind of the Bugs Bunny from hell in this picture
absolutely.
and stuff because he does that. And also, I love when he fucking throws the cowboy hat away and he goes, "I'm not doing this hee-haw shit anymore," or something along. I forget the exact line where he's like, "I'm not doing the beba-da-baba."
yeah. I love the when he kills Thomas Hayden Church.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite kill in the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because he plays it so well to where even in the audience you're kind of like, oh, I guess he is just going to let him go. That doesn't really seem like him. And then it's like the turn. Oh, by the way.
thing. I forgot to say, I said I wasn't going to hurt you.
I lied. It's like, boom. It's like, oh, it's just, the movie is just like, it has this energy to it that's just so much fun.
Well, let's get into. I guess it's a good time to get into kind of the production and everything because
Yeah.
I found out a couple of interesting facts. One is this movie was predominantly filmed on one soundstage.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I know that.
It was filmed in an airport, an airport soundstage. The same one as Sharknado was filmed in. I found.
That's a little
out.
sad, but it makes sense.
I know it's weird. It's like, it
Low
makes sense. It
budget.
was filmed horror movies, and I was like, no, the quality just fluctuates in that airport. What happened was
Wait,
is that
wait. There's a soundstage at an airport?
I think they just took an airplane hangar and they converted it.
It's
to,
actually pretty common for
yeah, it's a
airplane
very-
hangars to be converted.
The sound issues must be.
Actually, no, it's not. That's not. I think the deal with it is that older airport hangars, and I could be wrong on this fact.
It's
so
because of the ceiling.
It's because of the ceiling, and it's also because airport hangars inside of them have the same type of insulation as sound stages, which is old mattresses from World War I and World War II, because they block out sound from the outside so well.
Oh,
And everything. So they're built very much in very similar ways, which is why they'll do that. And the reason why they decided to do that is, in a rare case of the director actually thinking for his crew about his crew ahead of time, was like, 45 days straight of night shooting will probably kill these people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't I see if I can actually do a little bit of pre-production and see if I can put this into a soundstage?
I mean,
And that's what he did.
And
It makes sense to do that in general because of budgetary reasons.
It was also budgetary reasons because what they did was they would literally be like, all right, move the house out. Let's bring in some dirt. Let's bring in some World War I looking dirt so we could do the flashbacks for that.
Yeah.
And then let's do the flashback to when Jesus was crucified,
Yeah.
and let's do it that way and everything else.
But even like the tunnels, like all of it, like if that's all soundstage, yeah, that made sense to me. But I think it worked. Like it was one of the things where like because it kind of looked fake in a way and it looked soundstagey, it kind of played into the camp a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, it
There's
looks
a
like a
nostalgia
haunted
to that.
house. I mean,
Yeah.
it's almost like to reference a recent movie, The house on Nybald Street looks like a haunted house. That's
Yeah.
what's one of the things that I liked about it is that they're
Yeah.
not trying to be like, oh, we have to make it overly real and everything like that. It's like, no, this takes place in the realm of horror. There are demons running around. Let's, make things a little bit more fantasy-esque or...
I mean, a converted church into a hotel/brothel. It's great. Mission Hotel. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Also, I just got to mention electrodes. Oh my God, I forgot about that scene. Or I just love how Thomas Hayden Church is like, you burned my nipple.
My nipples are smoking.
But I think to that whole stage feel, that's an aesthetic that like I look back on very fondly. And when I was watching this again, I was just like, I remember seeing like movies like this, kind of more of the beef horror fair, where it feels like it's in a soundstage. It feels very built and like fake, but that's the charm of it. And that was such a great part of watching this again. Just like, this is built in one location. Everything is just manufactured. I don't know. There's like a tactile, raw feel that feels
I was
very...
just about to say, the word for it, I think, is tactile. This
Yeah.
movie feels tactile. And because it feels tactile, I think it feels more realistic than some of the other films that we've been watching recently, or some other horror movies that we've been watching recently, where they get a little CGI heavy. And because they get a little CGI heavy, there's always that part of your brain that checks out of it. Whereas you look at a film like Demon Knight, and you see that even though it doesn't look quite real, they still had it on set, so they were able to feel it, touch it, and
I love the actual like demons. Like I
Yeah.
think they're just like cool looking. Like I don't know were they just people in makeup, like just super
They were
skinny people?
slimy
Or?
and
they were
gross.
slimy naked people in makeup, and they were actually wearing ballet shoes. Like I think they were ballet. A lot of them were like
okay.
trained
Yeah, yeah.
ballet dance because you notice like the
Oh,
demons that kind
cool.
of do like that little stilted walk
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
and everything at certain points.
No, that totally tracks. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I love the way that they deal with like how to kill demons. You got to shoot them in the eyes. I thought that was really cool.
Well, they do something that I think a lot of films nowadays seem to forget to do, and this is why I think this film has stood the test of time. Is they establish the rules and they follow their rules. They
Yep.
don't break away from their rule. And I think a lot of people, when they do horror movies or when they do fantasy films or science fiction movies, it's very difficult to do. You have to establish your rules and you have to follow them to a T. But if you're able to pull it off, the movie turns out great. Terminator 2 is a good example where like Arnold Schwarzenegger describes the rules of the T-1000.
Yeah.
And you see the T-1000 working the entire time in the parameters of those rules. Doesn't make it any less scary, the T-1000.
One classic rule, not in the movie, but in horror in general, that they broke that I really appreciate, is that, yes, she's a final girl and she's black.
Well,
Which
let's
she survived.
let's talk about this for a little bit because I wanted to ask you guys a question. When was the last time you saw a black female protagonist survive and actually be the genuine hero at the end of any film?
Yeah. And the other black character, who's also a woman, is not one of the first ones to die. She gets through the majority of the film, CCH Pounder.
No, she's the fucking Vasquez of the group from Aliens. She is
Yeah,
Vasquez from Aliens in this movie to the T where she even dies in the
Blows
same way as
herself up.
Vasquez. Where
Yeah.
she's like, "Oh fuck you assholes, I'm gonna take you with me."
It's very
And
refreshing.
it's CCH Pounder. She's just a badass. You
She's a
can't
badass.
you
She's
can't
one
make
of the
her
reasons
not a
I watched
badass.
the entirety of The Shield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this
so
is
good.
This is a very diverse cast when you actually think about it, especially when you consider that it was made in the 90s when everybody had to be young, pretty, and white.
Yeah.
I mean, did that change?
Yeah, I was about to say that's kind of how it still is.
Yeah,
I
now
wish
we
I can argue with
So
that.
we just complain about it more.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, we just bring it out into the forefront more that this is how they do it. But yeah, like, not only that, but it's also a very like well-worn cast. Like, you look at the people in this film, and you actually believe that they live in this town and everything. Like just the way that they act and the way that they do things.
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff.
like the Thomas Hayden Church character, like it just makes sense. Like he seems like that sort of just douchebag guy who just kind of got roped into a town and he's gonna live there the rest of his life. Hates his job, hates everything about it, hates himself, and you just buy it. Like he just plays that character perfectly.
Yeah, and you buy that like CCH Pounder took Jada Pinkett Smith into her wing and everything, and
What is a work release? I don't really know that about.
They talk about it in It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do a whole thing. They call them slaves in that though,
Oh.
because it's always sunny. But no, it's where like you, it's part of like your parole. You hire somebody who had a felony, and then the government subsidizes their wages.
Oh, they also talk about it in Heat with that one
All
character,
right.
Dennis Haysbert. They got the
So
cook
we
and
got our
everything.
information out of comedies and movies. All right.
Isn't that how we get
That's how,
everything now?
that's how you learn stuff.
Danny
That's how you
DeVito
learn-
and Catherine Bigelow teaching the world.
But how to
I
make
also
things.
I didn't catch on to what she was doing instead of actually cleaning the oven.
Anything else?
I think that's actually what CCH Pounder tells us. Like, you're gonna do anything else, I tell you, like, and you're gonna like it. Let's also talk a little bit about Jada Pinkett Smith.
She's just
I
Jada
also-
Pinkett in this movie.
Yeah,
Jada
she
Pinkett,
wasn't the Smith
yeah.
yet.
This might be her best role, and I don't mean that as an insult because it's a great role. Also, I feel like too.
Now I need to look.
I
it up.
love the ending with her, with the dancing sequence when she has to have all the blood in her mouth the whole
And she
time.
can't let
Yeah.
on that she
Yeah.
has it in there, and you can just see
I
her just kind
love
of
that
being like,
sequence.
"I can't spit it out. I can't spit it
He
out."
keeps pushing me back and forth,
Oh.
so I have to keep.
See, I kept thinking that she was going to swallow it, and then he wasn't
Yeah,
going to be
that's-
able to touch her.
See, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
That's what I
yeah.
thought. Yeah.
And
But I like that there's, like, it's like, oh, you had to keep it in your mouth that long? Gross.
That's how badass she is.
Yeah.
Do
But
you,
that's what I liked about her, though, is that you never question whether or not she was a badass. Like, you question whether or not she wanted to do her job, because fuck doing her job. I have to clean an oven at 9 p.m.? Fuck off. I don't want to
Yeah.
do that either. But
Ovens suck. to clean.
Yeah.
did her cat survive? I don't remember.
I don't know if the cat
I don't think it did.
survived.
I don't
Well, I
think-
just love that scene where William Sadler's like got the gun out, like ready to shoot the fucking
Yeah.
cat. Where he's kind of like, "This better not be a demon cat. I'm gonna blow it away." But no, and I mean, like, you talk about also like people how like there are certain times in films and in characters where it's like you see them walk onto, and this movie does an excellent job with this. I feel like where from frame one, like just by the way the character is dressed and the way the actor kind of plays them, you know what that character is. William Sadler, I think you see that. Billy Zane, you see that, and you also see that with Jada Pinkett. Sorry, I just so used to calling her by her husband's name, Jada Pinkett, and everything in this film.
Yeah, I mean, she just has such on-screen presence, and she just does it so well. Like that's why I always kind of get annoyed that she doesn't have like kind of a bigger career, because when she shows up, she's great.
Well, I mean, it's also like
She managed to be good in the Matrix sequels. That's almost impossible.
fair point. I'm not gonna lie, it is a fair point. I mean, like, put it to you this way: when she comes onto the stage, I just kind of like, I'd be real curious if her and Sarah Connor got into a fight, who would win? Because they look like she is just.
Sarah Connor's also like twice her size.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Jada Pinkett is just jacked in this picture.
Sarah Connor's not very big. You rewatch
Yeah, she's a
the
tiny.
second movie.
Hamilton's
She's
tiny?
Yes, you rewatch
Well, everyone's
the second
tiny
one-
compared to fucking Arnold.
But no, she's skinny. Like, I looked at her arms, I'm like, those are thin. They're muscly, but they're thin.
Yeah, and I was about to say, Jada Pinkett looks like she is like just all muscle and could,
Yeah.
even though she's tiny, could probably lift somebody
Like, if
and
you
throw him over
casted
their
her
head.
as Sarah Connor, I'd believe it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I think actually no. If you actually, she actually would not be. If they remade the Terminator, she would not be a bad Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
Let's not start that.
I
Let's not go down that road.
I think it was interesting what you said earlier about just from frame one of any character, you kind of know what they're all about. And I think one awesome thing about B movies, in particular, and B horror movies, is the how they're economic with their storytelling. That in frame one, you have to get what this person's about. And these movies almost need actors like this to really just know when to dial it back, just to make their presence be the character moments. And I thought was kind of cool to see that. Like, I got their character how they looked and how they presented.
Well,
Yeah, but I don't think that's necessarily dialing back either. It's almost ramping up.
It's
like,
really-
it's like you have to be this caricature.
yeah.
It's on the nose because, I mean, just to list it out, Hayden Church's character, wife beater and Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah.
Douchebag looking. The old guy, just classic
Which
old
one?
guy.
Dick
the one-
Miller?
The one that was in Gremlins.
Yeah,
Dick Miller. Yeah.
Dick Miller. Just classic old man stuff. Does he wear like an old military jacket? I don't know.
I'm not sure at any point in
wears some
time.
sort
I
of
feel like he
jacket.
has like that like doesn't he have that trucker cap on?
Yeah,
or
he's
some
got
point?
some
Well,
sort
he
of
also has the
old man
old whiskey
clothing.
bottle. He has
Yeah.
a small whiskey bottle that any old man in these
And
towns have
he's
to carry
wearing a
around.
really good Dick Miller face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say that's the same character he always plays, so like it's
This
really
is-
easy to identify.
Jada Pinkett's wearing a cutoff, also with a wife beater. So she flips it where she's wearing tough man clothes.
Well, actually, the interesting thing, that was all her apparently also on the set, because apparently she came in with some costume ideas and everything. And then the other thing is that she didn't tell them. That's when she shaved her head and dyed her hair blonde.
Yeah.
And they were like, we weren't supposed to, because apparently originally she was supposed to be kind of a little bit more of a meek person, and like she was like,
Don't cast her.
There's
then.
nothing
you
meek
cast
well, no,
about
that was
wrong
actually what she was
person.
like. She's like, A, you casted the wrong person. B, this woman was in prison.
Yeah.
Like, she's not going to come out all meek and tiny and being like, oh, I guess I'll clean the stove and everything.
But
like
the meek and tiny one was the prostitute.
Cordelia.
Who's just wearing the light, fluttery, flowered stuff and a bustier.
Yeah.
So, like, their outfits are so specific to their characters. It's great.
But that's why credit has to go to Ernest Dickerson. Like, just because there's so many directors who think they have to own every frame in the movie, and it's just like you hire these creative, like, wonderful people, and he actually let them do what they wanted to do. Like, they let her pick her costume. They let I didn't know this, but they let Billy Zane come up with a lot of stuff. Like, that's really like it's nice to have that. Like somebody who just knows what they have and lets it work.
Well, and it's weird when you get those people who want to be in control of everything, because I see it and I see this great collaboration, quotes.
Yeah.
And that's the exciting part of filmmaking. Why I'm in it is because, like, I want to see people do their thing and just turn it into the direction it needs to go, not control everything.
Yeah.
Well, a good director always knows when to take a step back and just let his lieutenants or like his people do what they have to do.
And that's the best sets, or when the director is decisive, they know what they want, they're in charge, but they don't micromanage every decision because they trust that everyone's getting it done. That's always a fun set.
I really enjoyed, specifically with the sets, the real world set, you don't really notice it. It's very bland. It doesn't have very much color. You kind of see them with the staircase and you notice where he puts the blood and stuff, but you don't pay attention to the actual set until you get into the seduction sequences. And then suddenly there is color. They really spent money on the theme of what you're trying to seduce them with. Like, you get the art gallery with her pictures on the wall, or you get the luau with the bar. It's like very specific where you actually notice your surroundings. And outside of that, you don't really.
Well, I think that was very. But also, Ernest Dickinson has had a hell of a career. I'm not sure if you guys know too much about him, but he was Spike Lee's original DP on his first couple of films.
Oh, man.
He was his DP, I believe, on Malcolm X and Do the Right Thing, and I think Mo Better Blues and everything. And so this guy has an eye to make colors pop. And he also has an eye, and I think he also has an ability to know when to rein it in for certain scenes, like what
Also,
you were
very
just talking
important to
about.
the production designer who actually put that stuff there.
Who was it?
I don't know. I'm going to look it up. But you're giving credit to the guy who captured it.
And everything, but yeah, I think it was very. I think like he just knows how to like. I think he just knew as a director just how to rein it in and stuff and make sure that his crew, well, just to like kind of be like, all right, you guys are gonna do what you're gonna do.
He is a very accomplished TV director, like very accomplished.
Didn't he do also episodes of Dexter and The Wire at certain points?
Dexter, Wire, Treme,
okay.
Walking Dead. He did the pilot of Hand to God. He's done a bunch of episodes of Bosch. Like, this guy, like, if it's a big TV show, he's been involved.
Oh, you want this guy? I mean, like,
Yeah.
if there's any justice in the world, he'll be able to direct another film. I feel like
If he even wants to. I mean, he's been doing TV for 10,
and good
15
TV
years.
also.
Yeah,
it sounds
so
like.
if he gets to tell his stories there, then more power to him. Like, that's what he wants to do. He just did an episode of The Deuce. Like, yeah, he keeps working and does a lot of good shit. It's awesome. I'm jealous.
Now, I'll admit, like, when coming to this movie, I've only seen this movie in the whole, like, Tales from the Crypt thing. So I've been I was too young to kind of get caught up on that. And it was interesting. How many of these, like, Tales from the Crypt Presents movies did they do? And what was the kind of the whole concept behind this? Was it just, like, anthology movies or
They
something?
did two. The second one is awful.
What is it?
Blood
Bordello of Blood.
Blood.
It is. I hate saying it this way. It is everything that this movie is not. And it stinks because it actually has everything that this film had. It has a great cast. It has what I think is a good director. I believe the guy who did the original Fright Night directed it.
Oh, wow. I can look at that.
Yeah, look it up right now because I feel like the director of that was actually not a bad director. I could be wrong on that one. Horrifyingly misogynistic film. Horrifyingly, because it's
We're
about
fans of that.
yeah, like just so like and like I said, completely the opposite of this movie because in this movie. The women kick ass in this. CCH Pounder and Jada.
There's some misogyny
Director,
in this film, too.
Not too much. Okay, I thought it was Tom.
He's a very accomplished producer.
Okay, my apologies to the director of Fright Night. I didn't mean to drag your name down because you did make a kick-ass horror
Same
movie.
name.
Just to get to the art department really fast, the set decorator was George Toomer Jr., who also did JFK and Born on the 4th of July.
Damn.
Oh, those aren't big films.
And then the production designer was Christian, got two N's in there, Wagener, and he did Die Hard 2.
Oh,
So
okay.
we got
Also
some
with William Sadler.
yeah.
Nice.
I do love the fact that you have a guy who worked on JFK and Born on the 4th of July, because I could totally see him at one point in his picture just going, "Wait, you want me to do a horror movie? Just tell me you'll treat me nicely. I can't work with Stone anymore, man." Like, just be like this guy just got like, I could just see Oliver Stone being on the set and go, "Well, actually, if you look at Flame 343 of the Zapruder film, you got that blade of grass wrong in the right-hand corner of this set. Can you please fix it for me?"
Well, and to go back to kind of like the whole Tales from the Crypt thing, it was interesting having that tag at the beginning, like that kind of that, like the set, the director, that kind of skit at the beginning. It gave this movie kind of I don't know, it prepared me, I think, for just the kind of the cheesiness of the movie and kind of what they were going for, which
It's a thematic coda, would you say that?
yeah. It was a different way of movieing.
Did you ever watch the trailer?
No, I never did.
You should.
Oh, the trailer's brilliant.
The trailer is fucking great. It's just the Crypt Keeper like narrating what the movie's going to be, and it's like it has like the best tag, like where it's like it's very 90s of like. So to any of those women out there who think my movie is just too icky and gross, and then they show that shot of Billy Zane kissing like the zombies that they come out of or the demons that they come out of the ground, they like slap its head, and he looks at the camera and goes, "Thank you."
Well, no, I do like the code, because for a couple of years I thought the coda was very out of whack, or like the prologue of this and everything. But then I realized, I was like, no, it's what you just said. It sets the tone for everybody. This movie is a comic book. When you think of, I mean, for God's sakes, they even have a comic book that they flip to and they they do the pants in on.
Well, and that was the part I forgot before coming back to this one, is like the comic element to this. And so that coda, the comic element, it was just something that was like, I need to go back and research the context, because there's some interesting things going on here in this time frame of like the whole Tales from the Crypt thing. And just how different our horror anthologies are now in our anthologies. How we're doing them now is so very different.
Man, what if they did a horror? What if they did this in comic book form, actually, and they continued that? This would actually be a pretty good.
That was a really cool scene. I like too that it ends with a fucking child's shoe as they murder a kid. Like, wow.
He got huge, by the way. He grew up fast.
That was a great design of that monster.
Yeah, the practical effects in this movie are just stellar from beginning to end. But the kid, like when the head starts opening up, oh god, it's awesome.
Well, no, I love that,
and
I just
tonguing in the chest. It's like,
I just love the scene where he punches the sheriff, and like Billy Zane just has like the hardest time just getting his hand out of the fucking head, or he's just kind of like, you just see him like everybody's screaming their heads off, and he's like, "God damn it, why can't you get out?" And then finally he's just like, "Fuck it," he just rips the head off of the guy's body.
The main special effects guys on this was Christopher Bergschneider and Brian Blair, who are both still heavy hitters. They worked. Nice. Christopher worked on Artificial Intelligence and Captain America, and Brian Blair worked on Mission Impossible, Cabin in the Woods, Face Off, Starship Troopers, Star Trek Beyond. Like, they are noted.
Stop drilling. All you have to say was Face Off
or Starship
these
Troopers.
These are noted makeup guys. Like. Oh, that's cool. Why it was so good.
I mean, it feels like I know people are kind of starting to backlash against this phrase, which I don't know why, but it really kind of feels like a lightning in the bottle sort of situation, where it's just like everything came together perfectly.
They hired good producers. They put good people in the room.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like I feel like if you didn't see it while growing up, a lot of people don't go to it. Like I didn't. Like I missed it as a kid.
I'd never seen it.
And it's like,
well, no, I was talking to one of my friends, and she's like, "I've never seen that movie," and I'm like, "Oh my god, it's amazing. It's a great film." Yeah, like, but that's just
when you say it stands a test of time. That's the only part where I'd push back a little bit, because I don't feel that it did. Like I feel like it should have, and when you watch it, it still holds up, but it didn't have that following that I think it should have had, because I think it just gets roped into Tales from the Crypt. Like,
I think
like
it
Tales
does,
from the Crypt.
and it doesn't. I will say this: I went to the Great Horror Camp out about a year and a half ago, and they do these movie marathon things. So you could go on scavenger hunts and you could try to pick out stuff, and it's basically like miniature haunted houses, that type of thing. Or
but you're still talking about people who are into the horror
that
community.
That is fair, because
so the people who aren't into horror community, like this isn't held up at the upper echelon of like other horror films.
So would you say it's a hidden gem?
Yeah, like it's definitely one of those. Like when you finally do watch it, it's great, but it didn't have that staying power that I feel like it should have had.
Well, I think it's just because the umbrella of Tales from the Crypt, honestly, I watched the show. I always enjoyed it. But there's always that little bit of misogyny with Tales from the Crypt, because you always have the Crypt guy. I forgot his name right now for some
Crypt
reason.
Keeper.
Is it just Crypt Keeper?
It's just the Crypt Keeper.
But there's always giant boobs, and he's always got a woman who's barely wearing any clothing with him. That's a weird kind of thing.
Oh no! I agree with you. It's not a the Crypt Keeper. has lost a little bit of his charm
like
He
because
has.
he's-
Like,
Nerve the
you
undead.
can't really bring that
no,
back.
it's actually
People
a very
won't
good
like
way
it.
to describe it. He is kind of like that Hugh he's got that he's got that like what do people find charming in the early 90s?
Yeah.
Like, oh, what if
And
we have a corpse slap a woman's ass? Yeah, that's going to hold the test
Speaking
of
of
time.
which, can we please talk about the bar scene with the boobs? Just so many boobs.
I
Can you
actually
imagine
thought
being
that
on
was really
set?
funny.
Imagine being on set that day.
Funny enough, actually, Dick Miller was his name.
Yeah, Dick Miller.
He did talk about in the making of being on set that day, and apparently, like, he had the hardest time. He was saying he's like,
Yeah.
I had the hardest time concentrating. He's like, they just filled the room with Playboy playmates, and I was the only guy on set.
I don't think he was acting in that moment.
No, he was.
His
That's what they
character
said.
was
They
going,
actually,
oh my god!
It was
oh
like-
my god!
They were Playboy playmates.
yeah, they were
That
Playboy
makes sense,
playmates
'cause
and
they
everything
seem really
else.
comfortable.
Like, and
Yeah.
the deal was this stuff is apparently it's like almost like that line from The Simpsons when Mr. Burns makes his film and everything, and he's on the horse and and like Mr. Burns says the line, "We did 26 takes and that was the best one." Apparently, that was the deal with the scene where he walks into the room. Is that they're like, he ain't acting. Like, that was just the take that we were just like, well, fuck it, let's just do it this way.
And the thing is, it's exploitive and it's it's all those things, but it fits character wise.
It's an old man fantasy.
It's
Yeah. Exactly,
I was just
yeah.
about to say
That's the whole point.
it is
Yeah.
exploitive. I won't argue against that, but what you said, it fits the character.
Yeah, it fits the character, it fits the scene. It's definitely what a demon would do. To
Yeah, I was
fuck
about
with
to
a guy
say,
like
and
that.
you can't
Yeah.
tell me a demon wouldn't try
What's
to
the
like
fastest
go
way
after.
to make this man weak?
Yeah.
But it's also balanced out because, like you said, there's badass women in this movie. So
Yeah.
it's not like the whole movie is like boobs and boobs and boobs. It's like here's some boobs, but also here's some chicks kicking ass.
Yeah, I thought the opening of the movie was more of like the come on, whereas like
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
The
I
opening
did, that
of the movie
opening
is
does
just
not hold up to me.
classic
Yeah.
Crypt Keeper.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
That's-
Crypt Keeper where he gets to actually show nipples now, and it's like
Yeah.
okay, well,
Well, it's kind of like you're looking at the opening of the picture. And it's like, Jesus Christ, guys! Like, do you have to put in another couple? Like, yeah, sure. Why don't you put in another couple of shots of this woman, like just
in her
rubbing
bathtub, just
rubbing
like-
her breasts and everything. That's
yeah.
really what we need. I mean, honestly, they could have just began with the guy stalking up the stairs about to kill
Yeah.
her, and then cut to John Larroquette in the
Yeah.
which was like that part I
was
loved.
great.
Yeah, that was
him
awesome.
Arguing with the Crypt Keeper about how he's supposed to be going, and he's like, who the fuck do you think you are? You're walking up those stairs like that. You need to do a better job.
I actually
I
thought
loved all
the CG of him
Walking
walking
off
up to
the
him
set.
that stood up for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, no, this movie. I mean, I haven't seen the other one, but it sounds like this movie handled all like that sort of like misogyny and like expletive, like all that sort of stuff in a way that still fit the movie, and it feels like they just kind of forgot how to do that when they get to the next
It's
one.
just
But
that
it all had to do with the writer.
I was just about to say
well,
the thing with the
writer,
writing.
director, like there's a lot of people who like you have to be able to play it right, and they knew how to do it.
Well, there's also a certain factor with Bordello of Blood. Is Bordello of Blood was Demon Knight was a spec script that they took and decided to fold into the Tales from the Crypt mold. Bordello of Blood was a script that they written with the specific intention of it being for Tales from the Crypt. And the problem is that it's almost like TV show in 20 to 30 minute spurts. You can handle that type of like ridiculousness and everything. When you do it over a feature length, though, it gets old, it gets tiring. You start noticing how, like I said, like I'm about to go into spoiler territory for Bordello of Blood, but like anybody's gonna fucking watch it. The movie's about a vampire brothel, and how they seduce these men and stuff. And if you thought like, and you're just talking about the scene with all the topless women and everything, that is the entire film. Where it's just these guys like coming into this place and it's this total male fantasy of these guys getting seduced, and then 10 seconds in they get bitten by vampires and everything else like that, and it's like, oh, it's so horrible for these guys, and yet they're having the time of their lives because they get to stay in the vampire brothel with them.
yeah, it's a hard pass.
Yeah, like
What's the story there?
good question.
Is that the whole movie, or are they just in the?
No, it's like there's also a televangelist who
I'm
they're
still a hard
trying
pass.
to. It's like all of you are starting to fall asleep.
Just
Dennis
going-
Miller is in it. At one point, he gets a super
So,
soaker.
is it-
Corey,
when we
the
were-
Feldmeister is in it. Corey Feldman.
So kind of like when we were last week talking about Dracula and how that movie's kind of about men being weirded out by women's sexuality. That's all that movie is.
Oh,
It's
God.
like, oh, it's so dangerous to have such sexual women.
Yeah, because they're gonna bite you.
Oh, no.
Yeah, darn.
What was the phrase you did last episode?
Uncontained bosom.
Yeah.
Bosoms uncontained.
Although I do
Something like
love, even though it's not one of his better films, Dracula Dead and Loving It. There's that great scene in there where Pierre McNichol gets tempted by the women, and Leslie Nielsen's passing by, and he's like, "No, don't turn me into a demon, please don't turn me into a demon." Wait, this feels kind of good. No, turn me into a demon. Like, no, keep doing this shit to me. I don't mind. Do it. And like Leslie Nielsen's like, no, I can't have my wife get it anymore. Oh, come on. Like,
I think that is one of his most underrated movies, but
you
that's
know the scene I'm talking about? Where, like,
oh yeah,
it's just like, what does he say? Wrong me. Like there's
that movie cracks me up. I know it's
I've
not
never
great.
seen it.
But, it's so fucking good.
Yeah, there's like that scene where like they're making fun of the Keanu Reeves scene where Keanu Reeves is horrified that like these three women are gonna like
rape him.
Yeah, exactly. And then like in this movie, he's just kind of like, hey, no, I really like this.
For me, it was just like they have like the women floating out of the room. Would you just walk already? And they're like, fine. They land and they walk out of the room.
I haven't seen that movie in forever.
Oh, it's so fucking good.
It's a fun double feature with actual watching Dracula.
Yeah. But I think it's time for quotes. I'm going to go first, and I'm guessing it'll be a theme of the day. It's a Billy Zane quote.
Let's just establish that everybody has a Billy Zane quote.
So mine comes after he gets the key, which is the bottle of blood that we didn't really talk a lot about. And he's like, all right, well, I win. So he's like, well, this is over. So he just delightfully dances around the room and he goes, come on, everybody. It's time to play. And then an arrow goes through his eye, and he goes, or not.
Oh, he just falls.
I love it.
I have two. I do have a Billy Zane quote, and it's when he's coming at Jada Pinkett at the end, and he's just like putting her in the bathtub, and he goes, you know what they say about cleanliness relationship with godliness? First thing I'm gonna change. And then, but I also like CCH Pounder at the beginning of the movie, and when she's just like, "Get that pussy off the table," and the prostitute gets up, and she's just like, "I was talking about the cat."
I actually have a Hayden Church
I
quote.
have one too as a backup.
It's really in his delivery, so I don't know if I can really do it justice. It's near the beginning when they really like things are finally going down, and then Hayden Church just yells at the main characters, going, "They're trying to kill us because of you. Who's going to protect us? You?"
Nice. Yeah. So mine is a Billy Zane one. It's probably one that you're going to be guessing is the one I'll go for, but. It's when he says "fuck this cowboy shit," and it's it's the rest of the line that like you fucking ho dunk po dunk. Well then, there, motherfuckers, and just his dance jig that he does with it. It was late at night and I lost my shit and I had to be like, okay, no one woke up. Oh, good.
It's so good.
But no, and then it's the next thing that he says, and I have two quotes that I'm saying after this, where he just goes, "All right, this house is hereby condemned." Like, he's just like looking at him. He's like, he could have done this the easy way, but no, fuck it, we'll have some fun. I like this quote just because I love the fact that just how he says it. It's just this deep. It's just this guy who doesn't want to seem like this is a big deal, but you know it's a big deal to him just by the way he's saying it. Where he goes, "Oh look, he's gonna put something awful in there. Would you mind dumping it out before you place it inside?" When he's talking about the thing, he's just kind of he's like, "No, dump it out for me. I need you to dump it out." And then the other thing that I love is when he goes, "Humans, you're not worth the flesh you're printed on."
Yeah, that's a good line.
That's good. My other backup Hayden Church line was it's when the character just started to assume he was in an action movie and looks at his boss. He goes, "Homer, this is for 4 years of minimum wage, you asshole." It's like, oh, that hits home.
The one thing with the character you can identify with.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I get that one. All right, so review system for today I think will be easy. We'll find out. Campy horror movies, of course, anyway.
The Monster Squad.
Oh, that's a good one.
Rock until you drop. Dun, 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 dun. Dance until your socks fall off.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm going to go pretty on the nose, but I think it works. Army of Darkness. I had to say it before Chewie inevitably said it.
Yeah.
I can go.
Stop knowing what I do.
Yeah, sorry. But I picked that one just because it's just like tonality. They're very good like sister films. Like you can watch them.
Make a great double feature.
Oh yeah, they just both know what they are and they have a blast doing it.
Yeah.
This is going to probably surprise everyone because of all the times I've said I don't like gore. Dead Alive.
Ooh.
I fucking love Dead Alive.
I mean, the gore in that's pink.
Yeah, that's true.
I kick ass for the Lord.
I love the fact every time I watch that, there's a dinner scene in that I'm always marveled at the coverage. I'm like, it's amazing how much coverage Peter Jackson is able to get on a low budget. Like he is like a million shots on that table. It's really phenomenal filmmaking.
I can't watch that scene.
That fucking custard just looks disgusting.
As soon as the launching arm goo, it's like I have to skip over that.
Yeah.
I can't handle the arm goo. It's too much for me. It's.
I don't really like the zombies having sex.
Oh, I love the zombies having sex, and they have a baby that's just a little
it's
person
so
in a
gross.
suit. It's the funniest fucking thing in the entire world, especially when he starts
gross.
banging it on like the swing set. Oh my god, that movie is near flawless.
By the way, I just have to tell you guys, Peter Jackson is one fucked up person before he got to Lord of the Rings.
yeah.
If you don't believe me, watch that and then watch his previous
I'm
films.
Just
sure,
watch Bad
I'm
Taste.
sure he's still
if you
fucked
can
up
get
in a
through
way.
Bad Taste.
I don't know, Meet the Feebles. It's like,
Really, you go Meet the Feebles over Bad Taste?
if you want to, we can have a debate about
Yeah.
it. This warning, listeners, this one will get nasty.
All right,
Ooh.
I know what I'm just gonna go
Go
with.
for it.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay,
I
that's
just
campy.
love demons / ghost things / whatever villains that play with their food. Essentially,
Yeah.
love it. That's why I'll always choose Freddy over Jason.
You're wrong, but that's okay.
Yeah, whatever. I love it when the villain, the creepy thing, is also a trickster. I love trickster gods. I love trickster villains.
But you don't
Like
like
I
the
was-
Leprechaun movies?
I like parts of the Leprechaun movies, but those movies get gross.
I like the concept of the Leprechaun movies, especially him in the hood.
Yeah.
I will say that my favorite moment in all of the Leprechaun movies is in space. When he comes to that guy's penis and says, "And that's why you always use protection."
Oh, those are some movies.
They are.
There's something.
But no, I love Freddy Krueger.
Nice.
I mean, if we could put Freddy Krueger with Billy Zane's character, I think
Oh
they'd
my
have
God.
a ton of fun together.
That's almost exhausting just to think about.
It'd be a great road trip.
All right, last but not least.
All right, from Dusk Till Dawn.
Okay.
Ah.
Yeah, like just the level of camp and fun in that, and just the way the special effects are in there. Like, I just have an equal amount of love for both, like those that stuff that they're
Man,
doing.
all of those would make great double features.
Yeah.
With,
Yeah.
For Dusk Till Dawn, and I feel like Army of Darkness especially would make
Yeah.
great double features with Demon Knight.
Just like all the monster designs are so great. There's also a gaping mouth like thing that eats a guy, and from Dusk Till Dawn that's similar to the kid, and like just such a great and like an imaginative like horror. And I think that's fun. And it's like all one place.
Don't lie, you just like Cheech Marin's monologue in it.
I just like the dick gun.
I still have never seen this movie. There's a dick gun.
There's a dick gun.
Tom Savini has a dick gun,
Yeah, it's
and it is pretty great.
Is it on his crotch, or is
Oh,
it just
yeah.
shaped like a dick?
it's on his crotch.
Okay, actually, I'm going to say something right now. From Dusk Till Dawn is the good bordello of blood. That's actually
I mean, when you were talking about Bordello Bread, I thought of that movie.
only for Dusk Till Dawn is it done right.
Yeah. So that's it for today. That's the end of Demon Night.
Night.
Thank you, Chris, for choosing Demon Night.
Oh, it was between that. The other movie, in case you folks are wondering if you find it at a video store, they do exist still sometimes. Is Near Dark was the other movie I was going to recommend, which was directed by somebody named Catherine Bigelow. I don't know what she's done. Yeah. Completely.
Women directors. Like,
Who knew
that's
she
the
could?
thing.
Who knew she could make a
Has she
like?
really done anything of note?
It's not like she made my all-time favorite vampire movie with that film, but she made my all-time favorite vampire movie.
So then next week we have Mari coming out, American Werewolf in London.
Oh, classic.
Easily one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm very excited to talk about it. And then after that, as of right now, we still have Devil's Rejects. But again, I am waiting to see how scheduling goes.
Have fun with that one. I'm curious to see what your podcast says.
I'm basically going to watch it. Like, I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
I was
my
gonna say, I'm
fingers.
like,
I don't know if I
I'd
can.
actually be more interested in seeing all your facial reactions as that movie is being played than.
I'm not a big Rob Zombie fan. He kind of pissed me off with the Halloween remake, which I know a lot of people liked. I just thought it was like,
Devil's
didn't
Rejects
work.
is saying is his best film, but that's not say like.
well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Like I said, it could change based on scheduling. We'll figure that out later. So yeah, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.